thinking? Come on!
My name is Julia. It is really so in English it looks weird. Yeah, because A. No worries. So it's nice start actually because my story is dedicated to St. Valentine's Day, and for those who are maybe a little bit frustrated by it. Because in an effort to analyze my dating experiences, I'm actually found out something really precious. My precious! But I'm hoped that I can share it with you a little bit. But the story starts like first from a breakup. Because 3 years ago I'm exiting a 9-year-old relationship. And then I'm entering a dating landscape with almost zero knowledge, and I'm terrified about this because I'm a bit social phobic, especially after lockdown, and it is winter, it's already depressing, so I'm thinking, okay, let's take things slow, it's time to grieve, to reassemble, maybe to travel a bit, always helps, and then spring comes. And I feel better. I feel like, yes, I'm ready for some life lessons. And I'm traveling to Ireland at this point, and I'm falling in love with Ireland, with people, nature, with beer, of course, and with an Irish guy. How many Irish? But he's a tour guide, I'm a tourist, so... Surprisingly, we maintained this connection for another 6 months, so we traveled together. But then long distance is getting a bit weirder, and then somebody drops something serious and disappears for 1 month, which kind of breaks my heart. But I'm kind of breaking his too, so I think it can be classified as a situationship, and that was my first lesson on a dating lessons list. Communication is a key, yes. So at this point I'm also learning the art of writing closure letters. Really proud of that. We even stayed friends after that. But it all happens in December. And I'm taking things slow. Yeah, time to grieve, etc. And then spring comes. And I feel better again. But if you know, like in the situation when you train hard, like your corps and abs and core in the gym, and you're like saying, yes, hit me hard, I'm ready for that. And then life just slaps you in the face and you are like immediately humbled. So this spring I'm trying dating apps, but I don't like it. So luckily for me, I'm meeting a guy in an offline world. And he is amazing. He's kind, sweet, empathetic, thoughtful, everything. But there's always some but on the horizon. And he's not into something serious. And I'm like, yes, me too, I'm just learning, you know? And I'm saying that while falling in love with him. Oh, of course! And friends of mine like told me later that I should have watched the TV series How I Met Your Mother. But I didn't. So for the next kind of half of the year, I was able to keep my feelings under control. But then I basically exploded in a love bomb there saying, I'm falling in love with you from the first day I met you. And he is surprised. Maybe flattered, but mostly surprised. And we talk, communication is the key. We identify an imbalance in interest, let's put it that way. And for the next several weeks, I feel myself like if I'm standing on a crossroad, under the heavy rain, without umbrella, holding something really precious in my hands. Something that I made up on my own. And people around just swooping, you know, busy with their own lives and umbrellas, they don't care. And with each raindrop, this thing in my hand, this thing in my hand melts and just falls onto the pavement and pulled into the drain systems. So yeah, unrequited love. Or was it catching feelings? Whatever. Learned, done, painful. At least I learned how to identify my needs and to prioritize them, so no chasing. Maybe a little bit of social media stalking, but no chasing. Yeah. But the worst part, like that, as you can guess, it all happens in December again. And even like, the worst part is that I overused my budget and cannot go on a trip right away. So on my New Year's Eve, I'm just sitting there and thinking, next year I should just become this merciless monster who will be hunting these cute guys and will be breaking their hearts. Oh. But instead, in my first 5 days of the next year, I'm just getting myself into another awkward date. Probably was going to break hearts with cringe. Know your weapons. So anyway, 1st of January, I'm opening dating app and meeting there Tom Hardy. Yeah, it's like actor, he's hot, maybe. He's suspiciously proactive, but I'm like, don't overanalyze, just go. And I meet him. He is Tom Hardy, or version of him. On the way to the coffee place, we're already connecting, but it's not relevant because we are approaching an extremely dangerous crossroad, where he, as a gentleman, decides to help me with his hand on my back. And I must say, I'm not really easygoing with touches and with strangers, so I'm just jumping over the crossroad to avoid any kind of collision. Luckily, we're safe at the coffee place and ordering coffee, and he says, oh no, we ordering coffee, and I'm ordering apple pie. And he says, 2 forks please, to share. And I'm like, wait, what? To share? I don't remember we agreed on that. And Joy Tribbiani in my head just screams, Joy doesn't share food! But I'm thinking, okay, I'm not Joy, I can be polite, I can share. We sit down, his hands are way too far into my comfort zone, luckily no touching, so I'm just maneuvering between them to grab my scoop of pie. And I'm letting go my fork just for a second, when suddenly, he grabs it and just starts mashing apple pie together with slachrum. And I'm not sure what's happening, so I'm just saying, so sorry, this is my fork. And he cheerfully replies, completely unbothered by the crime he's committing against the apple pie, I know! And I'm hoping my suspicions are wrong, but the fork with the pie in it starts slowly floating into my direction. And I'm just not sure what should I do. So I'm just grabbing the fork from his hand and saying, thank you, man. Really thoughtful gesture. And I'm a bit panicked at this moment, and I think he notices it because he leans forward, looks into my eyes, and says, how would you translate it in your language? In your eyes I see stars which I'd like to grab from the sky. And I'm like, lovely. Should I translate that? I don't know. And in this moment I feel something is changing. The air is changing. It slowly starts filling up with some kind of fart fragrances. And I'm not sure whose fart it is, his or mine, and don't ask me how I cannot know it wasn't mine. I was nervous, okay? And in this moment, he jumps from his chair, goes around the table, sits next to me, takes my hand into his hand, and says, I can do a fortune telling for you, but for this I need a reward. And I'm like, I'm not sure I need a fortune telling now because we're already touching, sitting in this romantic situation surrounded by fart aromas. And the only thing happening in my head is a scream, code red, immediate evacuation. And I'm just thinking how we can do this politely. So I'm saying that I'm a sociopath. Yeah, it just sounds cooler than sociophobic. And I'm saying that this kind of social event overwhelms me and I need to go home. Luckily, he's not protesting, so we are going to the train station. And sitting on my way back home in a train, I'm thinking, Yulia, that was too fast. It is winter. You have to take things slow. You have to hibernate at least till the end of February. At least I also learned how to defend my boundaries there, kind of. But I cannot resist it anymore. And using my last limit on a credit card, I'm just buying flight tickets for a short trip. Just short trip. Yeah. And after all these adventures, I was trying to understand, how can I break this cycle of limp in December and hopeful springs? But slowly I realized that maybe it was never about getting things right. Maybe it was never about breaking the cycle because Earth would continue spinning anyway. But that somewhere there on the way, between these heartbreaks and cringe dates, I actually gained something even more precious. I finally learned how to accept myself in all of these situations, how to love and care about myself, with those identifying needs and boundaries, and how to befriend this critical voice inside my head, which quite often was saying something like, how could you do that? That was stupid. Or why would you say that? You just ruined everything. And to be fair, I'm still struggling with it sometimes, well, quite often. But anyway, more and more often, I'm hearing now something completely different in my head. Something like, I love you. You are kind. You are brave to do that. You're human. You can do mistakes. Yes, your morning breath can be stinky, but I still like you. And yes, this is your mess, but it is your joy. And it is your rules, because it is your story. And yes, sometimes winter can hit hard. But after each winter, there always comes the spring. And you feel better. Woo! Thank you.
Does anyone feel better about the topic of love after hearing that story? Yeah? I have a question, because you have a good point. Like, nobody wants to love in the winter. It's dark, and it's cold, and most common breakups happen during Christmas, so like, I get it now. Why is Valentine's Day in February?
Yes.
It should be in spring.
Imagine there is snow, ice.
You have to imagine that there's snow. We've had fog.